Hey Clemi, how you doing?
Hey, I'm good. And you?
Yeah, I'm great. You ready to go?
Yeah, sure.
Great. So congratulations on the new album. It's a really massive album. I think it's going to
Thank
bring
you.
a lot of new fans into the band. So how did the process for the album start?
Um, Actually, it started during the pandemic. We were on a US tour when the pandemic struck and sent us home, and it took us a couple of moments to like gather our thoughts and pass the shock because like
Yeah.
for the entire planet, realizing what was going on was yeah, it took us a little time, and then we thought, okay, no festivals, no tour. We're free. So let's dive into the songwriting for the next record right away. And this enables us to actually really give more thoughts into the whole process. We took a little time to really consider what we wanted to do and achieve with Visions of Atlantis musically. We decided to look at the assets of our music and which aspects we wanted to push, the metal, the heaviness, the musical
Yeah.
aspect, the theatrical aspect, and also the orchestrations. We really wanted to be a real pure symphonic metal band. And then, of course, came the pirate theme um, after a couple of songs were already written, and this inspired us some of the big tracks of Pirates.
Excellent. And your producer Felix, what did he bring to the album, if he, in your opinion?
Oh well. First of all, he wrote himself a couple of songs for our record because he's
Yep.
an amazing songwriter, and he was very inspired by. We were on tour together. We met him because he was the sound engineer of Freedom Call, with whom we've been on tour late 2019, and he wrote a song for us on tour. He wrote Melancholy Angel for us on tour, and he was like, I love you guys, but I have a track in my head when I listen to your show every night. I need to put it down. And I remember recording my demo vocals on the tour bus for this track. And so yeah, he wrote a couple of songs, and then of course, as a producer, he completely helped us shape some of our ideas. Like we wrote songs in a rough state, and together we wrote, we refined melodies, arrangements, chords. We refined structures and all to bring our composition to the next level. He really helped us make the best out of what we came with, which was already way more interesting that we could have whatever we did in the past, in my opinion. So yeah, his the collaboration, the triangle that we formed, Michele, him, and myself on the songwriting, enabled us to have the result we have. So we're extremely happy of this new collaboration.
You've mentioned Michele and you shared the vocals on
Yeah,
the record, and the album's a really fine example about how not just two vocalists, but male and female vocals can actually be independent, but then go together. So how did you determine who sang what?
actually, this starts when with the songwriting process. When we start writing a song, we imagine immediately who's gonna sing that part. Like we imagine a part, and it's like, okay, now it's, we imagine a character. Let's say now it's an angry pirate. Now it's more a reflective person. Now it's a ghost. Now it's a siren. Like we put some figures into to create a mood into the music, and then it flows very naturally. Okay, this is a Michele part. This is a Clemi part. Sometimes on some moments it could have been either me or him, and we really decide the more the most objectively possible who sounds best to really serve the music, because this is the core of what we do. We are a duet front band with the tendency of still having the female singer as the lead character in our group, but we prioritize musicality. So it's not, it doesn't, it's really what guides us is to serve the music the best.
Great. I want to actually ask about you as a vocalist. Your training, you know, were you classically trained? Did you always want to be a singer? Tell us about your history.
So I started to sing when I was a little kid. I think the Little Mermaid from Disney and the songs from that Disney really triggered something in me. I remember singing that in my room when I was very little. And then I always took part of choirs and I always had solo parts in primary school and all, and then in college and high school. And so singing has always been like a part of who I am. And when you're a kid, you know, you imagine your ideal day life and day job, and you're like, I want to be a singer.
Yeah.
So this I formulated very early, and singer, painter, artist. I think this was something that really talked to me, to my childhood soul, to my child soul. And then I did take classical training. Yes, at the end of my teenage years, I was at the special class for teenagers at the Opera of Lyon, and this was an amazing training. And then I had like private teachers to go on with that education. And then for the rest of my vocals, I basically developed it on my own, like on my more pop approach, all the belting techniques, all the everything else. I sort of course used the classical training of the whole breathing techniques to develop other aspects, but I'm more self-taught in this register.
Now, what does it take for you to prepare vocally for a show? Like, what's your warm up, warm down kind of routine? Do you need to spend a lot of time to get ready for one?
Well, with the headline tour, we have meet and greets of half an hour before the show. So I already sing before the headline show. So that helps, having the voice that already worked a little bit before the big show. It's not the same approach at all to sing a cappella, to sing without any amplification, to a few people in the room, and to sing on stage. It's not at all the same vocal approach, but I tend to try to avoid to use my voice too much before the show. I avoid talking too much during the day. And then I do little warms up. Actually, when we're in the middle of a tour like that, and the voice has not been resting for too long, I feel I don't need to warm up too much, because the voice is already like sort of in the shape. And I've experienced that too long warm up actually starts to make your voice tired before the show starts. So I warm up a little bit, not too much, and use the first songs as a warm up. They enable this, so I get into the show. I don't completely go with full intensity on the first songs, because that drains the voice out then for the last hour and a half. So I build it up during the concert, but it's, of course, it serves the music obviously all the time, so this is not an issue. But of course, I in a sense, I do not approach a 30-minute concert the same way as a 1 hour and a half concert. And of course, this tour, I say of course all the time, it's very annoying. This tour is 9 headline shows in a row without a stop. So I also keep that in mind, that I give my best, I give my all every night, but I also preserve, and the talking actually during the day and after the show at night, this is what kills the voice the most. So I tend to avoid this.
Sure. Now, the band has had a long history and has had a lot of different members. So when you're singing a song that you may not have written, how hard is it to project the emotion for you?
That's an interesting question. It is indeed not easy to do a cover, because this is exactly what it is, you know, sing the song of someone else. And indeed, for years with Visions of Atlantis, I felt I was in a cover band, because, you know, I joined in late 2013, and we did not release before 2018. So like for 4 or 5 years or so, I had to get into someone else's words, someone else's shoes, someone else's melodies. But if I always found a way to connect the songs to me, so that I could find this meaning and put my own emotions in there, even though of course it doesn't flow as naturally and as genuinely as when it's something you've written yourself. There's no comparison here, absolutely. But I decided to join Visions of Atlantis when I was asked to, because I liked the band, because I was touched by the music already, and And so yeah, it was and this an entire genre is a genre I always loved. It was not too complicated to get there.
Tell me about the song Darkness Inside. It's pretty deep. There's lots of emotion in it. So can you tell me more about the track?
So Darkness Inside is one of the tracks that Felix brought to our band. It has a more modern twist. So when it comes to the lyrics, I also went into something a little bit more modern than complete symphonic romantic piracy
Mm-hmm.
to fit it better. But it's we also made it our own with the melodies and the harmonies between Michele and myself. And yeah,
Perfect. Now,
right now, yeah.
European bands, I've got to say, no other continent in the world can do symphonic metal like Europe can. What is it that is in Europe that just makes symphonic metal brilliant, where sometimes everywhere else in the world they kind of miss the mark a little bit?
That's a great question. I'm not sure I have the right answer for it, but my instinct would be that the symphonic world from history, in the music history of orchestras and symphonies, is European. The great
Mm-hmm.
composers, like the where the symphony comes from, the Baroque area, and then before that, all the medieval. This history in music is European. So I want to believe that the influence through generations and generations passed into the DNA. I don't know.
Sure, yeah.
And it's like when you go to Vienna in Austria, you have advertising for Mozart concerts all over the place, because it's that was his town.
Mm-hmm.
And Germany has a lot of amazing symphonic composers. And Italy has that sense for melodies from the Renaissance period and all that is so typical from that place. I think it comes from the history of this place, of Europe, the European history. But I did not study this, so it's like a guess.
No, well, it's a good guess, because it kind of, the way you explain it is how it feels. You can imagine what would have happened. Well, what's the immediate future besides a few tours for the band? Do you think we're going to see you in Australia anytime soon?
Well, I have good news. I think we're going to see each other this year.
Wow.
We actually have a Australian-New Zealand tour booked, and all we need is to confirm between all of us as a band how we get there, because it will be our first time. And to be very transparent, it's a budget to get down there in this part of the world. And it might be that we need to, as musicians, pay for our trip ourselves there, which we already did when we went on the previous US tour this year with Dragon Force. So we just need to figure out exactly how we do that. But it's the tour is booked and confirmed, so it's basically should be happening. Finally.
So we'll be seeing dates out very soon, I hope.
Yeah, I don't have an announcement date for that tour. I guess later during this year, because I think it's in December. So So yeah.
Wonderful. Well, we'll leave you with that for today. Everyone needs to make sure they jump onto the band's socials and keep an eye on those tour dates when they get announced. And Clemi, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll look forward to seeing you at the end of the year.
Thank you. I'm sorry I couldn't put my camera on because I'm not yet in the venue, and the connection here is very limited.
It's all good. No problem at all. Have a great day.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank
Bye.
you, Andrew. Thank you. Bye-bye.